Good evening.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for being here. My name is Cindy Kovac, and first and foremost, I'm a nurse. I'm also the Regional Director of Connecticut Community Care, which is an access agency for the home care program for elders. And as a nurse, I am very interested in prevention. And I would hope that you're not going to be penny wise and pound foolish in shutting off the home care program, state-funded programs for elders, because it is a safety net for folks, and it's a prevention to me. It's preventing people from getting to a greater institutional level of care, which is far more expensive for the state of Connecticut. I think it's better to pay maybe on average $1,000 a month for an individual who's struggling at home than $6,000 plus for a person to be in a nursing home. Having said that, I just want to share that in this room you have, as you well know, is a plethora of nonprofit agencies. You know, whether it's Keep the Promise, United Community Family Services, Connecticut Community Care. These people are the safety net for the people in eastern Connecticut. And every cut that is made is going to create a struggle and a burden for people. So I ask you to just be very careful and make sure that people are looking very closely. What troubles me when I came in here this evening, I was handed this flyer, and it's the Bank of America profiting without pitching in. And I want to be certain that the people who owe taxes in this state are actually paying the taxes before you go out and you ask people to pay more taxes. So, and that's what I have to say.
Well, thank you. And to a nurse, let me say to you that we're trying to be surgical in the reductions that we're making.
I know that.
And I think we actually did overall a pretty good job. Again, you were out of the room, but you know, I've heard the complaint about Bank of America. By the way, if you don't like Bank of America, don't bank them. Maybe they'll get a message out of it, and we'll take a look at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for coming. My name is Sandy Brendan Moore. I'm Executive Director of Alliance for Living, Southeastern Connecticut's only aid service organization. I want to thank you for your support for increased support of housing. I would ask that you ensure that funding for housing is equitable throughout the state and not concentrated in Connecticut's larger cities. Last year at this time, Alliance for Living lost living housing subsidies. It was supposed to be for helping housing opportunities for people with AIDS. DSS had an RFP. That RFP was proven. Request for proposal was proven.
Here, just so they can follow, DSS is our largest state agency that oversees social services.
Right.
And RFP is request for proposal.
For
Okay.
5 years, they had been asked by HUD to produce this RFP. They didn't do it. All of a sudden, they requested all agencies that wanted this housing. There was 500, I believe, 525,000 available. And we were in a competitive, and we did not win. We were up against 2 eligible metropolitan areas, and they got it. Congressman Courtney went to Commissioner Starkowski, and he was allowed to speak to Starkowski. And he was furious. He thought it was a travesty. He continues to think it's a travesty. Senator Stillman, Representative Betsy Ritter, they wrote to Starkowski. He refused to speak to them. He said it was inappropriate for him to speak to them. In the end analysis, we received a subsidy for 5 of the 11 individuals who had so many comorbidities.
I got it.
Okay, you got it?
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
I'm hoping that some of that housing comes back our way.
And by the way, we're going to have a new commissioner.
Okay. increase our line of credit and stretch our payables. As a result, the dollars that we're supposed to use to serve our people are now paying interest and late fees. And the Contracts and Management Department of Public Health, excuse me, has reported that it takes 7 people to process an invoice.
Well, how many change a light bulb?
Right. 45 days to 60 days for us to get our money.
Yeah.
So I would appreciate you looking into that.
This is what I would say. We have created a position. Deb Heinrich, who was formerly a state representative from Madison, who probably has the best reputation in the State House for dealing with community providers and not-for-profits. She has the ombudsman role, and you really should get a hold of her and explain your situation. I'm going to tell you something. The state delayed the payments to you because it was using your money, and I don't think that's right. A reasonable time to pay a bill is a reasonable time. 120 days or even 60 days when you're putting the money out front is not reasonable. I can't change it overnight. I can't even change it till we get to July 1 when we have when we have a current budget. But I think it's inappropriate, and I think the way that you've been treated is inappropriate.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you for coming. I look forward to hearing what you had to say. Unfortunately, we couldn't. So I have two.
But somebody's recording it, so it's going to be available.
Good, I hope so. So I have two personnel comments. One is, it would have been nice if you could have given us Lieutenant Governor Wyman in the other room while you were here.
I
can't do that.
You wound up with no one.
I apologize.
But the second, and we couldn't get a message in to, even ask for some accommodation. That's a staff problem.
I'll let you guys a second time, but that's it.
Okay. And in general, I support what the last several speakers have said, and I would like to commend you on your appointment of a new commissioner of DSS. He sounds like a fun fellow. He has a good background in part of the job. The computer system certainly needs work. It's not the whole job. He's going to need deputies. I know there's a problem with deputy commissioners, but he's going to need them with expertise in changing organizational culture and also in the actuarial details of Medicaid and whatnot. But the DSS is a mess. It's a morass. The first thing that happens when something goes into DSS is that it slows down. They have control of not just the main eligibility programs, but a whole host of smaller programs from BRS, Bureau of Rehab Services. You heard last Friday about the Bureau of Education Services for the Blind and so forth. The best thing you can do for those programs is get them out of DSS, because it's going to be a long time before DSS is functional enough to be able to administer them fairly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, listen, this 60 minutes was only 78 minutes, so